What's up, Stir Sticks? It's the Cauldron Boys. I'm Mike Javelle.
Sup, I'm Noble Truth. Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm Gruesome Bubbles.
Today's project is Duskana, the Rage Mother.
Mommy Bear.
We're trying a new format for this podcast. I'm going to kick it over to Noble so he can explain all the details to you.
All right. What we did this time is a little bit different. Instead of building the deck from the ground up, Mr. Bubbles and I each built our own version of the deck. And then we proceeded to compare the cards, and it was no surprise that basically 4 out of every 5 cards are the same. We each chose. So we have a base deck to work off of. Now what we're going to do is fine-tune it through the selections of other cards that didn't match. So first, let's take a look at the main deck and talk about how Mommy Bear wins. How does Mama Bear win, Greg?
Food chain loops to blink and draw your deck as long as you have plenty of tutus. And if you don't have all the tutus, you make them tutus.
You make them tutus. So we got Food Chain, backed up by our boy Squee, which is comical, say, when you have Squee and Gemstone in the opening hand. I think that's a full flavor win right there.
I mean, that's
testing. We both had hands where we had Gemstone and Squee.
Yep, perfect place for him. It's like having an extra card in hand.
That's the ultimate setup right there.
It really is. It's like a freebie. We also have backups on Dockside loops with Emiel and Temur. So we have Temur Sabretooth. And
the Dockside loops add to being able to flicker Duskana.
Yep.
So you can trigger her multiple times as well.
Mm-hmm. Going back in. So we have Dockside loops where we can make infinite mana sitting with Emiel and Temur Sabretooth. Of course, with Emiel, you need to make just 4 mana or 4 treasures. Temur, you'll need to net 6 to go infinite. Or 5, I'm sorry, right?
5.
Two for Dockside, 2 for Temur ability. So, that infinite mana. Now, there are ways to go infinite mana and not have anything to do. Like some games that may or may not have been played. And then third line, we haven't decided. We're sitting on Dualcaster Mage, absolute must run. Even aside from the combo, he's a 2/2.
Well, what's wild is like Dualcaster Mage says target spell. It doesn't have to be your spell. It's great for when we don't have blue. Hey, I'm gonna pact your whatever. Cool. In response, I'm gonna Dualcaster Mage and I'm gonna pact your pact.
Pact your pact. Or hey, you want to add noise? I want to add noise.
Me too, bro.
Both decks that me and Noble built came up to the average CMC of about 1.4, which is a great Adnos deck. So if we can steal somebody else's Adnos off of the back of Dualcaster Mage, that would just be awesome.
Yeah. And I think in my line, Duskana is the only one that's 5. Every other card was 4 or under. So.
And I had one other 5, which we'll get to whenever we start talking about the differences. Everything else was under 5.
So the idea is to be able to blink infinitely, because remember, you can blink her with Temur and Emiel as well once she hits play. And you've already gone infinite, so there are ways besides Food Chain alone to win and blink her and abuse her ability. So the fact that she's got this, secondary ability, let's talk about how actually underrated that is. When a creature you control with base power, toughness 2 and 2 attacks, it gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Discuss.
There's a crap ton of Hatebears that are tutus. This is a great Hatebear tutu deck.
What's really cool about it is like a lot of C decks aren't ready for 5 and up power, even 4. So you start swinging with 5/5s and you've got them locked out of the game. You only cast 1 spell per turn, or that may lock down interaction and this and that, right? So now you're just beaten face with 5/5s.
Oh, you can only cast 1 spell, but I've got 4 5/5s, and you've got 1 creature.
Mm-hmm.
My turn. So it's a war of attrition. It really is. And then, as long as you have a 2/2 in play and getting her infinitely into play, you're going to draw your whole library. And once you've drawn your whole library, there's really no way to lose, even if you've gone through combat. We'll discuss down here. We have blind obedience with extort. So if you have drawn your whole library, you can simply just replay any creature with Dockside or with Temur or Food Chain and play that extort ability, and that's it. So, or some of the other wet methods we'll get into. Let's take a look at our base shell here real fast, and then we'll talk about the differences. We obviously invasion. It's too good. It's too good to not include, right?
Correct.
Sitting on burbs. Gotta have burbs. Esper Sentinel's a solid, even though it's a 1/1. It is card draw. We kind of want that.
Even if it's not card draw, get somebody's removal out of the way.
Exactly.
That's it. Archivist of Agma, a little bit more of card draw. And 2/2. Charismatic Conqueror. I like this card. What do you think?
The fact that it's a 2/2 taxing piece to either have their stuff come in tapped or we get a 1/1 is great. We'll see later that we have Mirror Entity. We can get a bunch of 1/1s, just Mirror Entity for 2 when Duskana enters. Could be like 8 1/1s that became 2/2s to draw 8 cards.
And
All
you can
benefit.
sack them for 1 to Food Chain if needed, can't you?
You can, because it is +1 of the mana value.
So
0, so you would get 1 mana each.
So that is a way to kind of use as a fast mana, use Food Chain as fast mana, aside from the loop. All right, this is another ramp piece. So we both really like this guy. I think we're sitting around 7 or 8 types of planes, but there's seems to be that's going to be enough to keep this guy full value. Dockside, say less, right?
Dockside's a must, man.
Dranith, it's a must. Even at a 1/3, there's nothing
we
worse.
We have an expensive commander. Try and keep them off theirs as quick as possible. As much as possible is what we need.
You go first. You drop a turn 1 Dranith. Everybody looks at you and sighs.
Yep. You must run. Gaddock Teeg, really neat 2/2.
He does potentially stop us being able to cast Rage Mother, but we can get rid of him at any point in time with some of the...
Thing about it, shuts off Deluge, Ad Naus, Final Parting, kills your Psych Rift, your Overloaded Rift. It kills a lot of things. So, 4 or greater. It's 4 or greater. Yep. So, he may not be the guy to kill like the fast tutors and turbo, but
he kills some of the expensive free counter spells.
Well, he shuts off Ad Naus.
Mind Break, no Ad Naus.
Shuts off Force of Will. Yeah, so he's a really good inclusion here. Grand Abolisher, must run. We don't have blue, so Vexing Shusher, the fact he's a 2/2 as well, just really great. Makes anything you play uncounterable, which in an infinite mana world means you're just going to win in that world, in that way. Aven Mindcensor, although not a 2/2, an appropriate Stax piece. Delny, let's talk about how gassed this girl is right here. Tell me how good she is.
We have... we have 2 creatures that are power over 2. To get double triggers off of every one of our creatures would be awesome. Dockside enter.
Think about that.
Dockside.
Double Dockside
amazing.
Enter. Think about that. Double Deep Gnome
Manglehorn
trigger.
enter. Double destroy. Freaking awesome.
How about this one? Dualcaster Mage. Double trigger.
Double trigger Dualcaster.
Gross.
Allows us to get some combos off of our instants and sorceries due to him.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Because like not only can you Dualcaster Mage and hit your your Heat Shimmer, but now when they try to stop it, since it's double activation, we get to stop their stop too.
So yeah, let me get this right. If you reprieved, you could reprieve Dualcaster back to your hand and still get the free cast off of them on another one, right?
Yep.
Kind of gross.
Because it stack the way it would stack would be the original and then the copy.
Double Dualcaster triggers. I love it. Now, how about this? Oh, yeah, we're talking about Imperial Recruiter, Must Run, Manglehorn. Fantastic 2-2. Here's the hitter we were talking about, Mirror Entity. This one, Greg put me onto this guy, too. Tell me about it.
Mirror Entity, just being able to make every one of our creatures 2/2s. It doesn't matter what they are. We need at least 1 2/2 to get the combo going. If all we do is make them all 2/2s by 2 mana, great. But at times, whenever we do get crap tons of mana via the Dockside loops, we can just have big freaking beaters.
That's it. Because now you could turn everything that's not a 2-2 into a 2-2, and they all get +3/+3.
Mm-hmm.
You only got to pay 2 mana to get 5/5s on attack.
Yeah, think about that. That even, in a way, even though it turns like your 4/4 Emiel into a 2/2, she get boosted to a 5/5 and is now thusly stronger.
I mean, if you think about what's being played in the meta right now as far as big stuff, I mean, basically you have everything that goes in Canon, and then what else?
Tivit.
Maybe a Traxa.
Yeah.
So
there's not a whole lot.
The way Duskana reads, if she's out whenever you activate Mirror Entity to make it a 2/2, you don't even lower Duskana's power and toughness. She immediately attacks as a 5/5 as well. So you don't even
still be a
her.
5/5. It doesn't even affect her. That's funny. So if your Duskana, it literally goes unchanged. So we discussed Mirror Entity, how good it is, and it literally nerfs nothing except it only allows us to enable more draw abilities. It also makes all creatures 2/2s that will be buffed to 5/5s. Fantastic. Sanctum Prelate. I really like this 2/2. When he enters the battlefield, you choose a number. Non-creature spells with that mana cost can't be cast. So I did a little bit of math, and there is nothing in the 2 to 3 range aside from Food Chain that would inhibit us nearly as much as the opponents. I think it's a fantastic Stax piece.
And we have the ability to get rid of it whenever we need.
True. If it were to be a problem.
Yes.
Simian Spirit Guide, of course, we probably won't ever play it, but if that was the only 2/2 I could get for a Duskana trigger, I probably would. Squee, Food Chain, say less, our boy. Emiel, what a fantastic creature. And this is one of my first experiences, and I've known him, I've seen Emiel, obviously. I've never really used him, her, them, they in a lot of settings. But now that I've had chances to run it, it's really good. It pretty much gives you protection on anything that you've got except itself.
Yeah, I mean, at instant speeds and responses to anything. I mean, whatever you want to do, you got it,
Boom, blink your guy. It's safe.
And
also, it blinks Duskana.
It does blink Duskana.
So, you have a quip? Tell me what you're saying.
So, I had a higher powered deck, not quite C, but it was set up to where I'd blink Craterhoof Behemoth infinitely.
Big ass creatures.
Yeah, it was.
Like, is that really necessary?
It wasn't.
He's already dead.
I think just like 3 would have been fine.
You can't kill him anymore. Then he's already dead.
Pull over! I can't pull over any farther. I'm already pulled over.
I'm already pulled over. We're gonna sit here while you smoke the whole bag. All right, Temur, obviously, Dockside, also protection pieces. Also another way to get Mommy Bear back if you wanted to draw. I mean, bounce her back. I know she's gonna be 5 to recast. Big deal. Tashar is another one Greg put me onto. Tell me why it's so good.
We have a lot of historic things, legendary creatures, some of our artifacts, and Duskana. If we're casting those, it's free value and a 2/2 to get them all back. All of the creatures except for 3 again
Like
are
Dosan.
3 CMC or less. Tashar will get them back.
Delny.
You just have to cast a historic spell, and you'll get any of your 3 CMC creatures back.
How does that work with Imperial Recruiter?
Well, he would come
Imperial
back.
Recruiter won't trigger Teshar because it's not legendary, but you can get you Teshar's out, play Mana Crypt, trigger Teshar, Imperial Recruiter on cast goes to the battlefield. You tutor up one of your cards, goes to your hand, and then your
That's
crypt would
fantastic.
resolve.
Yeah, and there, Dockside.
Yeah.
If you just if you already had. All right, so there's our creature base that we had shared in common. 24 creatures, which is not surprising because this is a creature heavy deck. We'll take a quick look at some of the other stuff. 5 sorceries must run. Gamble. How good? Too good. Too good to not run. Get your combo piece. Finale. Too good. Same reason, obviously the same reason Invasion's great. If you're infinite mana, I guess you couldn't really be too upset with that secondary ability, right?
Nah, that's a
That's
crater
part of
hoof
it,
when you
yeah.
need it.
Yeah. Twin Flame, um, obviously dual caster line, but also, you know, making your own copies of your own people aren't a bad thing. There's a couple of them in here that wouldn't be too bad.
We've
Even
got a lot of ETB effects, and if we
Yeah.
really need to get an ETB
Like a
copy,
dockside, like a second dockside.
yeah,
yeah,
even just like a ritual dockside, I need two.
So there's a way to do that. Jesse's Will, obviously too good. I mean that the overabundance of red mana, maybe not the greatest, but access to the 3 cards and the mana, yeah.
yep.
Savine's Wreck, standard, cEDH
Just
recursion.
as good as Teshar, but we can actually get back our enchantments and artifacts if they get sent away.
Like our food chain.
Food chain for sure.
Crop rotation, which in at its lowest form is really just not just mana fixing, it's gas. So like you have 4 creatures and you want to just tap one, crop rotate, go get your cradle. Now you got 4 mana. So it's essentially a ritual, and that's the way it's intended to be used here.
If you ever have drawn, if you're going first and ever drawn your Gemstone Caverns as your first card, or going second and you draw, if you ever draw your Gemstone, you can crop rotate the Gemstone to go get your Ancient Tomb or your Gaia's
Yeah,
Cradle
that's
or
a good way
a
to put
Shock
that too.
Land. Something. It's a good way to
That's
get rid of that Gemstone whenever it's actually
Good
not.
way to get rid of that pesky colorless
that
mana.
that is a
Baker.
nice help button.
Yeah.
So, Enlightened Tutor. Self-explanatory. Ephemerate. How good.
Blink effects.
We're on blink effects.
I like it.
It's like a backup to blink. It's also defense, which people sleep on that too. Oh, I just blocked your whatever. Now I'm going to blink my guy out, and he's fine. So, it does have a defense ability to it. The rebound is nice too, I suppose.
That's a good.
Path eggs.
We have a lot of ETB creatures, so the rebound in our upkeep would give us another ETB effect, and hopefully we have one of the good ETBs out.
Since
That's what I was.
since we're running a lot of tutus, Ragavan is a thing. Send the Ragavan in. They think you're gonna trade. They want to get rid of whatever. You're like, all right, cool, yeah, we'll block, and then we'll ephemerate. Now you don't get either.
Yeah, nothing. You did no damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you get your effect back.
Suffer.
Path, standard removal. Sword, standard removal. So, standard issue silence. Reb and Pyroblast. We don't have a lot of counter spells available to us in these colors. It is what it is. But we have a little bit of interaction in defense. Veil of Summer being another one. Fantastic tutor here on Eladamri's Call. Our beautiful deflecting SWAT.
I think the interaction in the non-blue colors is way underrated. I mean, the things that we do, the workarounds, the loops, I think that they're spectacular. They get you out of certain situations, and surprisingly they do press.
The other ways to interact besides just countering and bouncing. Right. There are other ways. And silence. All right, standard issue artifacts. These probably are all our best bets. I wouldn't run too many other because we are on Ouphe. So, these are pretty much all the fast ones, which is why I think both Greg and I strayed away from like Arcane Signet or Felwar Stone and
stuff.
Yeah, and any of the mocks, most of the other mocks amber, because I mean we do have a few legendaries, but our commander's 5. We don't have enough artifacts to run, you know, Mox Opal. So these are the ones that made it. Definite enchantments. We have blind obedience. Way too good. Way too good of a stacks piece. That extort can be a finisher. We just said that. Even if you don't have Emiel, but you have Temur Dockside, or there you go. There's your blind obedience, extort, GG. Survival of the fittest. Say less. Food chain, mandatory combo piece, smothering tithe. Here's a card I'd like to lastly discuss because it has been on forever on the block for me in this build, and I just can't seem to cut it. I can't justify cutting it, even at 4.
There's a lot of draw in our three opponents, so it is very much a play now, get benefit later card, but it can be a massive amount of a benefit.
If you have them blind obedience out, Collector Ouphe, stuff like that, where they're just like, I'm short on mana, I'm looking for an answer, I'm looking for an answer, and all they're doing is drawing and passing. Yeah, they do have mana to pay for it, but what if they don't? What if they're rock heavy?
Most of the time they don't, right?
They're
Even
rock
if they
heavy.
are
Another
paying
thing,
for it and they can't use their artifacts, that's keeping them off of spells.
that's exactly it. If they can't use their artifacts, they're probably considering that you can't either. And why even pay and bother with Tithe? Just let Tithe go. And then we have ways to get rid of our own Ouphe. And then bam, there you go. Now you're free to use all them treasures that got neglected.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our typical shell. Land based, we only had 20 common lands. So let's go and fill out the rest. See, we're sitting down here at 73. Let's sit in here and fill the rest of our deck out. Greg ran 28 lands. I'm high on 27 because I think that we should have that extra mana dork instead of the lands. 27 felt like a really like perfect for this.
27
And here's
works.
why. Right. So let's take a look. For filling out the rest of our lands. What's different in the land base?
A big part of it is I ran some snows where you ran
The regular
basics.
basics. And Saga and City of Brass and Cavern. Are we on those 3?
I think so. I think Cavern for sure. I'm a big fan of not being able to be countered. I mean, there are other answers to it, but this does put a big stop to just like a hard no. You know.
Okay. I'm on Cavern. I like that things can't be countered. Are we on Saga here? And City of Brass?
City of Brass is more than the saga. We do have a lot of pips, so it would help us get our pips. Saga, because we are on the Ouphe plan, if we lose a land to go get a rock that's not usable, and we don't have any static effect free rocks or cheap rocks, let's not have Saga.
Yeah, maybe it can work against us. Good call.
Yeah.
So 22 lands, we can put 5 more in. Let's fill out the basics, the snow basics. I like the snow, full flavor, love it. After we get the rest of the cards, so we'll tune it up a little bit better.
Yep.
All right, so let's move in to reviewing more. We'll skip the dorks for now. Let's see what mandatory instant sorceries or enchantments we should be running that we're not. Looking around.
Noxious Revival, Angel's Grace, Worldly Tutor. Those 3
It did
I
it
didn't
again.
even think about. What?
Yeah, well, yeah, Worldly Tutor, right.
Yeah, I for some reason didn't cross my mind whenever I was putting my list together. As soon as I saw his, those 3 definitely should go in there.
Okay.
Noxious, Worldly, and Angel's Grace.
I agree.
I definitely agree as well.
Angel's Grace is too good.
Especially if you can, you say that there's a key piece in the graveyard and you have cast the mother, and the trigger is on the stack. Noxious Revival, go get your thing back.
Good. Very well. Go get your thing back that you need. Even if it's your food chain or whatever. That's right. It's a good way to abuse that. and essentially it's a free cast.
Yep.
Let's see. I didn't notice. I mean, Heat Shiver. How do we feel about that to go with DCI?
Heat
I
Shimmer.
like redundancy, but at the same time, we don't want to be too diluting the primary goals.
I'm with it.
I don't. My stance on it is it's we're not turbo, so we're not looking for that combo in particular. So the
It could
redundant.
make somebody else's Dockside. It could make a copy of somebody else's. That's pretty underrated.
I,
All
I
right, we'll skip on that. How about you feel about Reprieve?
It's another interaction piece, potentially kind of sort of countering a spell. I like it. It's just more interaction whenever we don't have blue.
plus a card
Right.
draw.
Plus, it will pops a card.
And a card draw. It does replace itself.
It does replace itself. All right, so we're on Reprieve. All right, moving down over to Greg's list. What do you got? Instant Sorcery Rise. I do like Cloud Shift, and I had that in my original one, and I took it out. I think it's a good card. I don't miss it, but I also think that it should be there. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a good defensive and offense and a re-ETB trigger or something.
do we care
I'm with it.
about maybe blinking like anything? Because I'm Flicker. It's one more mana, but it hits any permanent.
Not really.
No.
Yeah, because we're on the Ouphe plan, we don't want to blink our rocks. That'd be pointless.
Yeah, that would be the
Resetting
I
any
think
of
the
our
target.
enchantments isn't helpful.
I think
The
blinking
only other
Duskana.
thing I'd want to blink would be Gaia's Cradle if we have a bunch of creatures out.
I mean, you flicker and Dualcaster, then it's the same as Cloud Shift because that's funny too. You're like, oh, my Dualcaster's already in play. This guy over here is going to play an overloaded Psych Rift, and you're like, oh boy, with that on the stack, let me Cloud Shift my Dualcaster, and I'll also overload the Psych Rift, and you bounce your stuff.
We all restart over here.
Yeah, so you're asked out too, buddy. That's what you get for trying to overload a Rift. All right, so I'm on Cloud Shift here. You sold me on it. Just another a way to abuse some of our ETBs.
The other two main instant sorceries that I have is 3 visits and Nature's Lore. It's 2 mana to go get one of our non-basic lands, one of our forest. It just helps us with the early ramp.
Me personally, I'd rather have Mana Dorks all day, all long. That's me. Like, I would replace them with a Dork. Well, I don't know. What do you think, Mike? I did like your interlude too. I did want to make an honorable mention here for this card.
With Ouphe, dorks are. I feel like they're key. You know, we're essentially gonna be shutting down everybody else's random rocks, and let's reap those benefits. You know.
I mean, I could see us running one of these. Probably 3 visits for full flavor, huh?
Yeah, 3 visits for.
Because also, getting our mana from multiple sources is good. A few mana rocks, I'm down with that. I'm down to see a 3 visits in here.
They
You
allow
mentioned Eerie Interlude. It returns the thing at the end step, which
Yeah.
doesn't really help us with their combo, so I don't think we should really have Eerie Interlude.
We don't need it here. It's a good card. It is an honorable mention, but you're right. It's more of a protection piece at that point than some kind of game changer. All right, moving into what artifacts are we not running here? You got Stone, and I don't think we need Signet or Stone.
We don't need Signet or Stone.
Again,
the rocks we have are great for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I'd rather see Mana Dorks. That's me. I mean, in these colors, that's me. What else we got? That's pretty much it out of these piles. Oh, this card.
Our creatures.
What I forgot to come back to this while we're on instant sorceries. You find some prisoners. So this is a really neat card that's underrated that one of our compadres on the Discord showed us. At its floor, it's a shatter. But at its best, exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. Choose one of them. until end of your next turn, not this turn, next turn, you may play that card. And you may spend mana as over any color to cast it. Guys, it's a tutor killer. Oh, what is that? You just hit Mystical Tutor? Bam.
Vamp Tutor.
Whatever you tutored for, gone. And I get to play it. And if you were to go infinite, this has happened to our situation. And you drew your whole library with Duskana, which is very possible. You could ephemerate and Dualcaster with Delny in play and literally exile everybody's library, all 3 opponents, and play them all. Like, how funny would it be to play somebody else's Thoracle and win in a Naya deck? Like,
that's awesome. That's kind of like doing it with Atali.
yeah,
It's just like
that.
Atali, yeah.
It really is like that. What do you think about this one? Let's put that one into considering.
I'm cool with that.
I like that. Go back to main board. That's a possible. All right. Now, going to creatures, exactly why. This kind of does the same thing. And he's a 2/2. And Greg, I think you got to see some of him in play. Or you too, Mike, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
It's not only going to goad things like, things people don't want to die. Like, I don't know, somebody else's Stax piece. It also will allow you to exile the top of somebody's library and play it. Much like Ragavan.
The fact that you get to you get 2 options out of this. I mean, it's just fantastic. What's best if we're controlling the board and stuff like that, but we may not be drawing, we may not this or that. Now we get to start looking at other people's stuff. Hey, maybe there's something on your deck that'll help us. Maybe this, or like you said, you played your Dockside. You know they played their Dockside. They didn't do anything with it. You know, or maybe their stuff got countered. Whatever. There's a Dockside out there, but there's still that chance that they will have some way to start looping their Dockside. Now we get to go their Dockside and they get to attack into something big.
How do you feel about this card, Greg?
Yeah, Grinzo is just another effect like Ragavan. That's
it's half a
helpful,
Ragavan.
But you also don't, if you don't want their card and they have a non-mana dork that you want to die, like Esper Sentinel, make them send it somewhere.
Yeah, send it to exile. It gets rid of a card, doesn't it?
We're talking about the goad.
Yeah, the goad too. So he's got 2 modes, and I like this little spot too. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, so it triggers on every creature, not just like him or one or another target creature. It's when any creature you control deals damage, combat damage. You think that's a worthy ad? Considering he's a 2/2, 2 red pips is a lot.
2 red pips is a lot, but it's. I mean, we're playing Jessica's Will, so I mean we could hit it off the back of Jessica's Will. That's
card advantage. It's worth it. Let's put him in there. He's neat.
Another thing that, since bringing up, Jessica's Will, I know this is earlier on, but what about some rituals? Pyretic, stuff like that. I mean, we're on the Ouphe train.
I think Greg and I both at the same point. We're like, because we have things that make you only play 1 spell a turn.
That is,
so like
very Staxy.
Yeah, we're Staxy. We're not turbo, and I like rituals, but I'd rather see a mana dork than a ritual, something that sticks on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we weren't trying to be Staxy or as much into the Staxy, rituals would be pretty good. But
which is a
we
great.
Can only play 1 spell. We ain't playing a ritual.
Right, and then it becomes dead draws, which is a great thing that you brought that up, and why you don't see us running a lot of rituals. Obviously, the guides, we're not going to talk about why you got to run the spirit guides.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a very good question right there. So I like this Lannery Storm too. My only issue is that it only triggers when they attack.
Yeah, if That is true, but if we have Delny out, that's double the treasures, and she
That's
gets
true.
bigger anytime we sack treasures. So if we docksided for 4, she gets +4, +4 +0. She gets bigger, but we don't have to have her. I'm not as high on her as much anymore.
After seeing some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I do like Cutzel too. I like this ad that you had because it's like an abolisher on there, and it can make you card advantage. They are a 3/3 though.
We really don't want people messing with our turn 2 abolisher effects. I think is very important.
We
Yes,
have
she's
to in
not
Dosan. This would be a third,
3.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
2
oh,
already.
Yes. We I forgot about Dosan.
Yep. Yeah, sitting on
So
Dosan.
I guess we don't really need her if we have 2. I like the idea of 2, 3 not so much.
And they're both 2/2s, which make them perfect.
Yeah, the other 2 are much better.
Although Dosan, it's not just your turn; it's everybody's turn is their own turn.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dosan does also run the risk of an opponent
winning would
getting
be
the win
no
on their turn,
interaction.
and there's no way to interact if we don't have a way to get rid of our Dosan.
Potential downside.
Whereas
But it's a
Cutzel
I think.
But it ensures our win.
I think it's one of those things like whenever you play the Monkey's Paw,
Wish Claw?
Wish Claw. Whenever you play Wish Claw, you only play it whenever you're gonna win. When you're going for the win. Or at least that's what you hope to do is play with it. Play it that way.
That's right. That's right.
True, that is how I use Abolisher in my
Yeah.
Tibet deck. And
I would play Abolisher if it was my only 2/2 for Duskana trigger, but you're right. I wouldn't spend my mana on him prior to that.
It's one of those things where if you're not ready for the win, or if you're not ready to like start looping off, then it's a dead card in your hand.
And I feel like, being 3, Cutzel, if he wasn't a 2/2, the choice would be very simple. It'd be really simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This would be better, but I think we're in the right place for that. Let's keep Skyclave Apparition. I think is a must include. I don't know why I ended up cutting it at one point, but
gets rid of the One Ring, gets rid of some of the other indestructible problem cards.
Gets rid of a lot of problem cards.
Giving them a body doesn't quite matter as much. We have enough bodies to deal with.
Yeah, we swing 5/5s. And theirs isn't going to be more than 4/4. So it doesn't give them a body that can even kill one of our 5/5s. So I think she's going to have to go back in, being a 2/2 that it is. Removal on a 2/2, and we should find our interaction in such a form.
What's cool is we're on Blink Affix too, so it's not just one; it's multiple.
Yeah, we are. Good call.
That makes me want to exile somebody's crypt and blink it, and they get a 0/0.
0/0. Oops, that's dead.
And then you hit their ring.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick on the discussion of that, you do have Emergent Zone. I'd like to note that we should probably add that as well.
Potential flash speed at somebody's end step, or in response to somebody trying
Let's
to.
go ahead and do that. All right. We're still looking. Let's take a breakdown. 84. Sitting. Oh, this is a nice deck right here. Sitting on 23 lands. We need 4 more lands. That leaves us about 12 cards to add. All right, 12 cards left. Let's check it out. We're looking at some of the finals. Now, before we add something not easy, the mana dorks are important here. This is a creature-based deck. We don't have any other than Burbs. We're going to need to add some.
The 2 that you had on your list of Sylvan Caryatid and Delighted Halfling definitely go in.
All right, I'm with it.
The Hexproof and Uncounterable, that's good.
And the Caryatid, the thing about him too, he's an 0/3. He's way out of Bowmaster and Bolt range. And I know that's your quabble with mana dorks.
With those small mana dorks. Caryatid is fine. It's got 3 toughness. If
For
they're
2.
going to send 3 at Caryatid, then that's fine.
Now, there is a 2/2 mana dork, that Faber or Elder, that Let's look at him real quick. This could be a last minute ad. Oh, it's a 0/0. I'm sorry. He gets +1 for each color among you get. But he does add
at
3.
best, we would get 3.
Yeah, never mind. I thought he was a 2/2 base. I forgot about that other ability. All right. So that's only 3.
Ornithopter of Paradise? It's
It is
Z-
a 0/2.
It is a 0/2.
It's a little better on the.
One of any color. Isn't it?
It doesn't
Yep.
get hit by Bowmaster. Yes, it is one of any color.
One of any color. And it's a flying body too.
True, it
Yeah.
blocks a Tivit if need be.
We could block a Tivit. I think. Oh, we gotta have to pop Ouphe in there too. All right. I'm on it. I'm on it. It's just not. I'm on it. Why not? That's a really good suggestion.
So that is
It's a 2-drop
3 extra
flying
mana
0/2 of
dorks.
any.
I mean, that's
Yes.
So we're up to 4
your
dorks.
signet. Instead of running signets, we run Ornithopter now.
Really, it's
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes better because it can be.
The only problem with that is if we have Ouphe, Ornithopter isn't tappable.
Cut. Speaking of Ouphe, let's put him on there now because that's a thing.
Surprised you didn't add him whenever we were talking about we're an Ouphe deck.
I think that's probably why I didn't think about him in the first place. But we're so far streamlined into it. I completely slipped my mind.
Yeah. You have a new creature that is a 2/2 that I didn't even read. Vengeful Tracker.
Tell me about him as a Stax piece.
Everybody's sacking artifacts, treasures, clues. Very few foods.
Lotus petals.
Lotus petals. There's artifacts to sack away. LED.
Yeah, the LED shuts down.
He's
LED,
gonna
kills breach
He's gonna
lines.
shock your opponents so many times.
Kills breach lines.
Yeah, it is already life totals. Life is a resource, and let's make them pay for it.
Yeah, this is a really good card.
One is not dead.
One is not dead, so we gotta continue to add with our combat and other ways.
And it's a 2/2. Mike, do you know about this guy? You know about this card?
No, I did not. This is
Vengeful Tracker. Yeah,
He's new from of
Murmurs
yeah.
from Murmur at Markov.
Markov
Murmur.
Manor.
So,
He's from the Manor.
the manners.
So it's a 2/2 little hate bear. It is a hate bear. That's a hate bear.
Yep.
Even though it's a little silly human detective, I mean, it shuts down breach. That comes in play. Nobody's going to infinitely mill themselves with brain freeze or loop with wheel. That's over. You're not going to be able to LED. You're not going to be able to pedal. That needs to be removed.
Dockside loops?
Of course.
It does,
Yeah.
because you have to. They use treasures for the Dockside Loop.
Treasures, yeah. Whoops.
It's almost no different than having a what is it? The Mayhem Devil. Almost no different.
Almost, except you can
Our
target
version of a Mayhem Devil.
Right. Really good here. I like it. Okay. What are you thinking about Archon? 3-drop, 2/3.
I was on it at the beginning, but because we're trying to do 2/2s for the most part, I think that Ethersworn Canonist would be better than
The better choice?
Archon.
I definitely
It
agree.
adds to the non-artifact
Think
art Staxy pieces, and it is a 2/2 for 1 less mana.
So on that note of, not doing one, what do you think about Deafening Silence? Kind of must run it, right?
Deafening
It doesn't
Silence
hurt
is
us.
Another...
It does not hurt us. We're the last people that'll hurt until it does.
Well,
but
let
then,
me. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Aethersworn Canonist, and it says artifact on it.
but it doesn't have an activated ability.
Oh,
It's
It's a
just
static
a static
ability.
effect.
I'll just shut the fuck up then.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
can
the word.
attack with the creatures you can attack with your artifact creatures through an Ouphe. You can't activate any abilities of them.
Right.
So it's a static
Like
effect.
Ornithopter.
It's just there.
Yeah.
It just exists.
I got you.
Yeah.
So it really, I mean, it kind of staggers everybody. We're not playing a lot of artifact spells, so it doesn't matter to us really as much. It's basically is a deafening silence on a stick to us.
Yeah.
Some
also swings
artifact
for
decks.
5.
It also will swing for 5. Okay, let's take a look. 88. We're
There's
looking at.
a 1/1 that I think should go in this deck.
What are you thinking
It's
about?
a secondary effect, Recruiter of
Recruiter?
the Guard.
This guy?
When you say
Yeah.
this guy, I'm not looking at your screen. I'm on the deck list.
Oh, you're on the deck list?
You keep saying this guy, and I'm like,
Oh, I thought you were on spell table because this is the one.
No, I'm looking at the separation so I can scroll on my own.
Okay. Recruiter of the Guard, slept on. I think this is pretty good.
That's pretty much our entire creature base.
Like Imperial Recruiter, both of them.
Yes, it is another tutor for a creature.
Let's go down. What do we have? I like this Cursed Mirror. I do like it. Or Oracle. Oracle to me is hefty at 4. I don't know if that's quite a hate bear the same though.
Oracle isn't a hate bear. It's just added effect if we were to have more cards in hand, because part of our thing is drawing a bunch of cards with Duskana. I had it on my list as the idea of we're going to have multiple lanes in hand each turn.
I like Jetmir here too. Except I feel like focusing on combat took away from the rest of the deck when Duskana does all the combat stuff herself already by making them 5/5s.
Yeah,
Like,
we
it's
didn't
kind of
need-
enough.
Yeah, I took it out of mine.
We're sitting on, let's see, 31 creatures. We got about 7 adds to go until we fix our land base. Oh yeah, this guy, new recent little find for me. What do we think?
It's Graveyard Hate.
Samurai of the Pale Curtain, 2/2. And if a permanent we put in a graveyard, remove it from the game instead.
It is Graveyard Hate, and you normally have Dothy Voidwalker. We're not in black. That's our Dothy.
That's our Dothy. We might not get to play it. It might slow down to Shar. And I wanted to make a point about this. I like Samurai and I like Samwise. I like your Samwise suggestion. But I feel like we should go one or the other with these two.
Teshar better than Sam because we're not.
Teshar for sure, I think is the keeper. But between Samurai,
you're meaning Samurai and Sam.
Sam and Sam. I feel like this could have.
If we're infinitely blinking and getting infinite mana, and we have a Sam out, we would be able to get infinite life at the same time. But
we're
I
already
like the Graveyard Hate.
I think that could do more for us.
That's a win.
Well, think about it. Whenever you couldn't do anything previously, whenever you went infinite with infinite mana and you didn't have anything to do, there was a potential if you had all the foods, just get a crap ton of life.
That's true.
That's just me making fun of you, and you're infinite and not doing anything and passing the turn.
Going infinite with Duskana just to flex.
Yeah.
Like,
and then getting your entire
any...
plan fucked up before your next turn.
I don't have any 2/2s, but yeah, I have infinite mana. Oh, and then my favorite part where you're like, oh, I'll just Dauntless Dismantle your 800 treasures.
Your 800 treasures.
We're on Samurai. We like Samurai of the Pale Curtain. This is our Sam. This is our Sam now. Yeah.
We need to hurry. My daughter's now screaming in the other room. I don't know.
And sure, Eternal Witness is an absolute include.
We do need to definitely have Eternal Witness. It might not be a 2/2, but we get stuff back. And if
it does double off
other stuff.
Yeah, and it is flickerable.
Sylvan Library as well.
You like Sylvan Library here?
I do like the draws. I do like.
What about this Fauna Shaman? All right, we're in agreement. Sylvan Library is a good card, Dad. All right, we're gonna do that. Fauna Shaman.
Fauna Shaman for what it does is cool, but
it is a 2/2 for 2.
It's a 2/2 for 2 that doesn't have the haste to activate, and you're wanting the activated ability. We have Survival of the Fittest.
That's true.
We don't have. So if we need another slot, yes, leave it. But I say put it in, and it'll be a potential cut if we need it.
I'm really liking where we're at. I mean, Boromir looks like the next real one to think about. How do we feel about Boromir?
Boromir
Still
definitely
good.
needs to go in because it stops the free shit
Yeah, he's too much
unless
of a.
you really need to activate it.
If you're going
And
first,
remember,
it's just great.
yeah, remember Boromir also stops them from casting their free counters on you.
Yeah, it stops all the free shit.
So, I mean, we might as well pop our. You find some prisoners in there. Are you cool with that?
Yes, and the enchantment.
The Skyclave.
Assemble the prayers.
I was gonna ask
Some of the
you.
players. You like that one?
Players.
I think honestly, I like Touch the Spirit Realm here over it
If we're gonna
because
pick between the two, touch is way better.
we can return our own. We can blink our own Duskana on top of
Yeah.
that ephemerate effect. All right, let's put that in.
What about
That
authorities of the consoles?
Authority of the consoles. I
Yeah.
hadn't really thought about that.
Didn't either. That's a good one.
It's a 1 mana enchantment. You go first. You drop that, and everybody goes.
Greet your mana rocks.
Yep.
So that puts us at 96, and now we're fixing to go 4 lands. I like Authority. That's a good little Stax piece. But you're telling me that's better than Deafening Silence?
No, I don't think
It's basically the same thing. It stops the dockside loop for sure. It's the same
Well, it's
thing.
creatures.
Deafening Silence stops it.
Deafening Silence stops our own loop. All right.
I thought it was creatures. Oh, I'm thinking of Blind Obedience, where it's creatures and artifacts. I would
So
rather
Authority
have
just makes
the
them
Deafening
enter
Silence.
Then Authority?
Yeah. I mean, we don't really need the life gain, and that only affects creatures.
I think Deafening Silence is.
Deafening
You see what
Silence
happened when I
is-
dropped the turn 1 Deafening Silence.
it's a
I
big
won.
sad. It is big sad.
Yep. Deafening Silence for sure.
All right. So I think that's a good way to fine tune that. And these, again, to everybody that's maybe still watching, we have play tested this a little bit to be able to kind of have some experience to talk about it. So overall, really solid. And we're sitting at about that.
We're sitting
We're
at
sitting at
96.
96.
We got our 4
Let's take our
lands. There is
lands.
one land that I think we need to add for sure. It's not going to make color. Does come into play tapped. But Field of the Dead makes 2/2s.
I know you like that, and I'm with it.
It makes 2/2s.
I don't think we're going to get to 7, but I do like Field of the Dead. I can't believe that's that expensive of a card now. It's worth over $20.
Hadn't had a reprint in a while.
They come out originally in
2020.
that's the original version.
Yeah. It
card.
only was printed
2020.
yeah, Secret Lair in 2020.
Lands.
So at this point,
abuse it.
we need more white mana production. But we only have room for 1 basic of each.
I would do one of each basic, maybe not a mountain, because the Blood Moon is what would really screw us over. And we'll already have mountains, so we could do a forest and a plains. Those will be fine.
Yeah, well, red being the lowest requirement and also equal to the amount. We need double the amount of white mana, but make the same amount as red.
Yeah.
So
Do we want Yavimaya, or is that the list?
I don't think we need it. I think it could be a better spot.
Okay.
I mean, we're making enough green. We're not primarily green. And it helps other people. All right. So let's go snow-covered forest, snow-covered mountain, snow-covered plains. We're going to add another plains. And I hate to say this, and we're not done, because that is 100 cards. We need to kind of finesse this a little bit. Our land, we're producing the same amount of mana as of each color, basically. We need to somehow get more white. Is a Ganjo an option here?
I think a Ganjo is definitely an option.
Yeah, a Ganjo works.
That's pretty much. That's a good one. I like that. It's a legendary. I like it. Does that trigger to
The
Shar?
other Ganjo as well. No, you have to cast a spell.
Cast it. Okay. The other Iganjo as well.
Both Ganjos.
So I know we
That's
are
T of the
not
Empire.
on. A lot of the times we're not on Triomes, but
No.
Jetmare's Garden.
What is it?
Jetmare's Garden.
Comes in tapped.
It does come in tapped, but it is also.
Fetchable at an instep, and then you get your 3 colors.
Mm-hmm. It also is cycling 3.
And yeah, if need be, we can draw a card.
It's fetchable from Terramancer. All right, so we're loading up the whites here. That puts us up a little bit on white. I feel like we could cut back some red-green lands. Mainly not stopping ground, but we'll get rid of Spire Garden.
Is that the check land?
Bounce land, yeah, or the bond land, where if you have 2 or more opponents.
Yeah.
That's proper. Gemstone Caverns, we still on that?
I mean, it's just really a good give it if we have it. It's a good Squee exile, but it's a 3-color land, and if we get it later, it's an easy target to sack for crop rotation. You don't even have to think about it.
Okay, but so what should we drop, and what else should we take out though? Definitely not a duel. Stopping ground.
Green red is where we need to lower it, so stomping ground works. I was getting ready to ask what are our green red ones.
That puts us, 20% of production on red, 23% on green, 28 on white. We just got to make one more cut. I really hate to say it should be a colorless one. I think that counts Gemstone as a colorless. Emergent Zone, cool, because we run Emergent Zone, Ancient Tomb, and Field.
So,
I'm cool with cutting Field if you're very
out of
sure
those
we're
3.
Not gonna hit 7. Yeah.
I mean, we could, and it does make 2/2s. And when you played it in Tatiova the other night, I thought it was really.
Don't go with Tatiova. I play extra.
I know, and I thought it was really spicy there, and I did like that it make 2/2s.
We don't have ways to get too many extra lanes in play.
That makes it shit until turn 7.
Because we don't have land ramp.
6.
It does,
yeah,
so I'm fine with cutting it.
There we go. Now we are officially sitting. Look at that. Duskana, Cauldron Boys, sitting at 100. Invasion, 34 creatures. Seems low. What is it? 6 sorceries. Seems right. And I like them. 17 instants. Seems right. Just enough to kind of be all interaction. Couple blinks. Gas. Here's our gas. Yeah, an interaction and tutors. Artifacts, low count. Perfect. The perfect 7. That's the solid 7.
On purpose.
Perfect on purpose, right. 7 enchantments, each one of them. Amazing. Sylvan Library is the greatest turn 1 play. I don't care. It's fantastic on turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
Except maybe Ristic or Mystic. Ristic.
It's when you don't have blue.
Right. I like this. We have like 3, 4, 5 ways to blink our guys back in and out. Food chain, Squee. We got lots of stuff going for us.
I think this will be a good, fun deck, and I am looking forward to giving it a test try as our actual combined list.
What are you thinking, Mike? What's your impressions playing against Duskana?
I hate it. I love.
If you were the pilot.
Oh, if I was
the
pilot.
Telling me you loved it. You were
the pilot.
You thought it was greasy.
It is. So when I was looking through both deck lists, I was like, man, I don't know which one I like better. just the fact that some of them was beat face, which I think is really really kind of cool in cEDH when it's not really like
thing, right?
yeah, it's not a beat face, but like, hey, I'm gonna stop you and then I'm just gonna punch you in the mouth a couple times and then we'll figure it out. And then the combo aspect of it as well, like I'm a combo player. I love combos. I love
Combo with aggro backup.
yeah, I love both deck lists and to see kind of them kind of morph together and really uh take shape and see
She
what
does blend combo and aggro well, doesn't she?
she really does. And it's one of those things where it's like it feels like you're playing like a high powered casual deck in a C deck.
Like attracts, right? It feels like attracts a blink,
Mm-hmm.
which we know is an archetype in the meta.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, it's like a little Naya version of that. The only real stipulation is that you need to have a 2/2 in play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My favorite thing is the fact that combat may not be our number one strategy, but the fact that we're going to send a Archivist of Ogma as a 5/5 at you makes me laugh.
Oh, it's definitely for the memes.
Especially in a format where
Absolutely.
life totals matter.
Yeah,
They matter.
life matters. There's Sylvan Libraries, the Ring, Adnos. Those are the three main life
Yep.
cards. If they're in black or green or any deck because of the One Ring, I'm gonna hit you with some 5/5s, and you're gonna
Citadel's
like
a thing, right? So there's another one that we see in the games a lot that affects. And yeah, turning these little guys into 5/5s, like that requires that people have to actually consider they're gonna fucking die to combat damage. Like that's gonna happen, maybe. And then you're like, you dismiss combat damage until you're dismissed.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, to clarify earlier, I heard how do you like sitting across from it? I hate it. I hate sitting across from it. But no,
Yeah, you said to me last night, like I really wasn't excited for the deck at first, and then once I seen you guys played it, like I'm kind of hyped right now,
dude. It was like I was like, man, 2/2s. I mean, yeah, I hate bears, but like. And then y'all started popping off. Y'all started popping off, and I couldn't do shit but look at y'all and be like, "Well, isn't this a shame?" Like that.
He's swinging 15 damage at me.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is funny is if somebody is taking a bunch of damage or did take a bunch of damage to an Adnos, and you don't have Duskana out. If you don't have Duskana out, and they went to like 4, and you have 3 2/2s, they're thinking, I've got 2 creatures I can block. Drop Duskana, then you're sending 3 5/5s.
You're like,
So that screws up where they want to stop on an Adnos also.
They won't fucking do that twice, I bet.
No.
What's that saying? My favorite saying in the world, bro, is everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and this embodies that.
Yes.
That is true. Everyone's got a plan. That's what we should call
This deck
it.
could be Duskana. Fuck your plan.
Yeah.
Just got a punch in the mouth.
Yeah.
Punched a bunch. You know, I just noticed a lot of our instants are all 1-drops. That's fantastic. Yep. Except
That's what
4.
we want.
Except 4. So 13 instants at 1-drop. Solid.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna close this out. Let's do a last little recap. 147 overall mana cost. Fantastic. Amazingly low. But Duskana's are only 5 value. We even have 5 at 3, at 4. The entire rest of our deck, aside from 6 cards, is 3 and under. Wow. That's serious. All right, listen, I think real quick before we have Mike take us out of here, I wanted to mention real fast that we have been looking at the Mutant, the Master, Transcended as replacing our Mothman. There'll be more info on that coming up.
Definitely be some gameplay with some edits to the Mothman deck.
Yeah, I actually recopied the deck and made it and posted it with the Master as the commander. So I might do a separate version with him a little bit. See what happens. That'll be discussed future. We'd like to thank everybody. Take us out, Mike.
Hey guys, welcome Thank y'all for watching us. All right. Real quick, shout out to Greg. He's our proxy guy. If you need proxies, come check us out in the Ironborn. All right.
Ironborn Gaming.
You know it. You heard it.
Ironborn Gaming in Discord. That's us.
TikTok. We're on TikTok at the Cauldron Boys. Come check it out. We're currently looking for somebody to come catch a game with us. All you got to do is like, comment, and subscribe. That's it.
We're always looking.
Future aspects, like you said, we got a chain, maybe a commander change for the Mothman. We also have a Shurikai list that's coming up soon.
Shurikai on the way. That may be our next battle.
So, guys, like, follow, subscribe, comment, tell us how we did. Ring that bell, please.
Let us know anything that we missed. We're not going to know every card. We're not going to know the perfect strategy. This is what we think is a really good Duskana list. You think of anything you think is better and what it should replace, just let us know down below.
Definitely include what it should replace.
Definitely.
All right, y'all.
All right, Cauldron Boys out.
Hey, I'm walking here.
See you.
Intermission. I'll put a little. We're going to the lobby. Let's go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves some snacks. Let's all go to the lobby.
You spend too much time in hotels.
Seedy, dark, shady hotels.
Yeah.
With equally questionable women. No, I'm just edit that out.
Oh. Noble dies.